Hey, wait, do you actually know which date your May payment is hitting your account? Because if you're not 100% sure, you're not alone, and this video could save you from a serious headache. Every single month, thousands of SSI and SSDI recipients either panic because their money hasn't shown up yet, or they miss critical updates that affect when and how much they get paid. And May 2026 is no different. Here's the thing. Not everyone gets paid on the same day. Depending on your situation, your payment could land on the 13th, the 20th, or the 27th. And if you're watching your bank account expecting money on the wrong date, you might think something went wrong when it hasn't. Or worse, actually miss a real issue that needs your attention. So in this video, I'm breaking down exactly who gets paid on each of those 3 dates, why the schedule works the way it does, and what you need to watch out for this May specifically. Whether you're on SSI, SSDI, or both, I've got you covered. Stay with me until the end, because the details really do matter here. And if you want to stay on top of every SSI and SSDI update, hit that like button and subscribe right now. Let's get into it. Hey, wait, do you actually know which date your May payment is hitting your account? Because if you're not 100% sure, you're not alone, and this video could save you from a serious headache. Every single month, thousands of SSI and SSDI recipients either panic because their money hasn't shown up yet, or they miss critical updates that affect when and how much they get paid. And May 2026 is no different. Here's the thing. Not everyone gets paid on the same day. Depending on your situation, your payment could land on the 13th, the 20th, or the 27th. And if you're watching your bank account expecting money on the wrong date, you might think something went wrong when it hasn't. Or worse, actually miss a real issue that needs your attention. So in this video, I'm breaking down exactly who gets paid on each of those 3 dates, why the schedule works the way it does, and what you need to watch out for this May specifically. Whether you're on SSI, SSDI, or both, I've got you covered. Stay with me until the end, because the details really do matter here. And if you want to stay on top of every SSI and SSDI update, hit that like button and subscribe right now. Let's get into it. So let's start from the very beginning, because a lot of people watching this right now might not fully understand the difference between SSI and SSDI. And that difference is actually the key to understanding why your payment date is what it is. These are 2 separate programs run by the Social Security Administration, and while they're often mentioned together, they work very differently under the hood. SSI, which stands for Supplemental Security Income, is a needs-based program. That means it's designed for people who have limited income and limited resources. And it covers not just people with disabilities, but also elderly individuals who meet the financial requirements. SSDI, on the other hand, stands for Social Security Disability Insurance, and this one is based on your work history. If you've paid into Social Security through your taxes over the years and then became disabled, SSDI is the program that's supposed to catch you. The amount you receive from SSDI is tied directly to how much you contributed to the system during your working years, which is why 2 people on SSDI can receive very different monthly amounts. Now here's where it gets important for May 2026 specifically. The SSA doesn't just send everyone their money on the same day of the month. Instead, they use a staggered payment schedule, and the date you receive your payment depends entirely on which program you're on, and, if you're on SSDI, when your birthday falls. This system has been in place for a long time, and the SSA designed it this way to manage the massive volume of payments they process every single month. We're talking about tens of millions of Americans receiving benefits, so sending everything out on one day simply isn't practical. Instead, they spread it across multiple dates, and once you understand the logic behind it, figuring out your own payment date becomes a lot easier. Let's talk about the first payment date in May 2026, which is May 13th. This date is specifically for SSDI recipients whose birthday falls between the 1st and the 10th of any month. It doesn't matter what month you were born in, January, June, October, it makes no difference. What matters is the day of the month. So if your birthday is on the 3rd, the 7th, or the 10th, for example, then May 13th is your payment date. The SSA schedules this group to be paid on the second Wednesday of the month, and in May 2026, that second Wednesday lands on the 13th. This is a consistent pattern. It's always the second Wednesday for this group, every single month of the year. So if you know your birthday falls in that 1st through 10th window, you can always count on the second Wednesday being your day. Now, one thing worth mentioning here is that if May 13th happens to fall on a federal holiday, which it doesn't in 2026, but it's good to know for future reference, the SSA will typically move the payment to the business day before the holiday. That's a general rule that applies across all 3 payment dates, so keep that in the back of your mind whenever a holiday is coming up around your payment date. For May 2026, though, the 13th is a clean Wednesday with no holiday conflicts, so payments for this group should process smoothly and on time. Moving on to the second payment date, which is May 20th. This one is for SSDI recipients whose birthday falls between the 11th and the 20th of any month. So if you were born on the 12th, the 15th, the 19th, or the 20th, this is your group. The SSA schedules this group on the 3rd Wednesday of each month, and in May 2026, that 3rd Wednesday is the 20th. Again, same logic applies. It's not about the month of your birth, it's purely about the day. And just like the first group, this schedule is consistent month after month. Once you know you're in the 11th through 20th window, you can plan your budget around the 3rd Wednesday every single month without having to look it up each time. A lot of people in this group sometimes get confused because they see others in their life, maybe a family member or a friend, getting paid on the 13th, and they wonder why their money hasn't come yet. And that confusion is completely understandable if you don't know the system. But now you do, and knowing this can genuinely reduce stress. Budgeting is hard enough when you're living on a fixed income. The last thing you need is unnecessary worry about whether your payment is coming at all, when really it's just scheduled for a different Wednesday than someone else you know. And then we have the 3rd payment date, May 27th, which is for SSDI recipients whose birthday falls between the 21st and the 31st of the month. This group is paid on the 4th Wednesday of the month, and in May 2026, that 4th Wednesday is the 27th. If your birthday is on the 22nd, the 25th, the 28th, or even the 31st, you're in this group, and May 27th is your day. Now, this group often has to wait the longest within any given month, and that can feel frustrating when you know other people are already receiving their payments. But the money is coming. It's just the way the schedule works, and it's been this way for years. Here's something really important that a lot of people don't realize, though. There's actually a 4th date that technically falls within May's payment activity, and it affects a very specific group of people. SSI recipients, those on supplemental security income, have a completely different payment schedule than SSDI recipients. SSI payments are typically sent out on the 1st of each month. So the SSI payment for May 2026 would normally go out on May 1st. However, and this is where it gets a little nuanced, when the 1st of a month falls on a weekend or a federal holiday, the SSA sends that payment out early, on the last business day of the previous month. This means that in some months, SSI recipients actually receive their payment in what looks like the previous month on their bank statement, even though it's technically their payment for the upcoming month. For May 2026 specifically, May 1st falls on a Friday, which is a regular business day, so SSI recipients should receive their May payment on May 1st without any early payment situation. But this is worth understanding deeply, because if you've ever looked at your bank statement and seen 2 SSI deposits in one month and then none the next month, This early payment rule is exactly why. The SSA isn't doubling your payment. They're just sending next month's payment early because the first would otherwise fall on a non-business day. A lot of people have called the SSA in a panic over this, not realizing what happened. So now you know, and you can save yourself that confusion. Now let's talk about something that affects both SSI and SSDI recipients equally, and that's the question of how your payment actually arrives. The vast majority of Social Security beneficiaries today receive their payments through direct deposit into a bank account, or through a direct express debit card if they don't have a traditional bank account. If you're still receiving paper checks in the mail, it's worth knowing that the SSA strongly encourages, and in many cases requires, electronic payment. Paper checks take longer to arrive. They can get lost. They can be stolen. And they create all kinds of complications that direct deposit simply doesn't. If you haven't already switched to direct deposit or a direct express card, it might be worth looking into that because it gives you faster, more reliable access to your funds every single month. Another thing that's incredibly important for May 2026, and really every month, is making sure your information on file with the SSA is completely up to date. This means your bank account information, if you use direct deposit, your mailing address, if anything is changed, and your contact information in general. The SSA uses the information they have on file to process your payment, and if something is outdated or incorrect, it can cause serious delays. Updating your information is something you can do online through your My Social Security account at ssa.gov, by calling the SSA directly, or by visiting your local SSA office. Don't put this off if you know something has changed, because a delayed payment due to incorrect information is one of the most frustrating situations to deal with, especially when it could have been avoided. Let's also talk about what to do if your payment doesn't arrive when it's supposed to. This is something a lot of people worry about, and there's actually a specific protocol the SSA recommends. If your payment is late, the first thing they ask is that you wait 3 business days after your expected payment date before contacting them. The reason for this is that sometimes there are minor processing delays on the banking side, not necessarily on the SSA's side, and the payment often shows up within that 3-day window. However, if 3 business days have passed and your payment still hasn't arrived, then you absolutely should contact the SSA. You can reach them at 1-800-772-1213, and they can look into your account and tell you exactly what's going on. Don't just sit and wait indefinitely. If something is genuinely wrong, you need to report it so it can be resolved. Something else that can affect your May payment is if you recently had any changes to your benefit amount. The SSA periodically reviews cases, and there are various things that can cause your payment amount to change. Things like a cost of living adjustment, which the SSA typically announces toward the end of each year for the following year. Changes in your income or living situation, if you're on SSI. Or changes in your Medicare premiums, since Medicare Part B premiums are often deducted directly from Social Security payments. If your May payment is a different amount than you expected, it doesn't necessarily mean something is wrong, but it does mean you should look into it and understand why the amount changed. You can check your benefit information through your My Social Security account online, or by requesting a benefits verification letter from the SSA. Speaking of Medicare, this is something worth touching on, because many SSDI recipients also have Medicare coverage, and the two programs are closely linked. If you've been on SSDI for 24 months, you automatically become eligible for Medicare, regardless of your age. The Medicare Part B premium is typically deducted from your SSDI payment, and for 2026, that premium amount is something you should verify, if you're not already aware of what it is. Changes to Medicare premiums happen annually, and they directly affect the net amount that hits your bank account each month. So even if your gross SSDI benefit stayed the same, your take-home amount could be slightly different if the Medicare premium changed at the start of the year. Now let's talk about something that many SSI recipients specifically need to stay on top of, and that's the reporting requirements. SSI is a needs-based program, which means the SSA needs to know about changes in your financial situation. If you earn any income, receive any gifts of money or property, have changes in your living arrangements, or experience any other change that could affect your eligibility or benefit amount, you are required to report those changes to the SSA. Failing to report changes can result in overpayments, and overpayments are a nightmare to deal with. The SSA will want that money back, and while they do offer repayment plans, it creates a stressful situation that most people would rather avoid. So stay proactive about reporting, even if you're not sure whether something counts as a reportable change. When in doubt, report it, and let the SSA determine whether it affects your benefits. For those of you who receive both SSI and SSDI, which is possible in certain situations, your payment schedule is a little different as well. In this case, you'd typically receive your SSI payment on the first of the month, and your SSDI payment on whichever Wednesday corresponds to your birthday. This can actually be a helpful arrangement, because it spreads your income across different parts of the month, which can make budgeting a little more manageable. But it also means you need to track two separate payment dates, so make sure you're aware of both. One more thing that's worth addressing in this video is the topic of benefit increases and cost of living adjustments. The SSA typically announces the annual cost of living adjustment, or COLA, in October of each year, and it goes into effect in January. For 2026, the COLA was already announced and applied at the start of the year. So if you're wondering why your benefit amount looks different than it did a year ago, the COLA is likely part of the explanation. COLAs are tied to inflation data and are designed to help your benefits keep pace with the rising cost of living. They don't always feel like enough, and many recipients feel they don't. But they do represent an annual adjustment that the SSA makes to try to protect the purchasing power of your benefits over time. As we wrap up, let's do a quick recap of everything we covered so nothing gets lost. In May 2026, SSI recipients should receive their payment on May 1st. SSDI recipients with birthdays between the 1st and 10th of any month will be paid on May 13th. Those with birthdays between the 11th and 20th will receive their payment on May 20th. And SSDI recipients with birthdays falling between the 21st and 31st will be paid on May 27th. These are your 4 key dates for May 2026. And now you know exactly where you fall and why. The most important thing you can do right now, beyond watching this video, is to log into your My Social Security account at ssa.gov and make sure everything on file is accurate and current. Verify your bank account details. Check your benefit amount. And look at your payment history to make sure everything looks right. It takes just a few minutes, and it can save you from a lot of unnecessary stress down the road. If this video helped you understand your May 2026 payment dates more clearly, please give it a thumbs up. It really does help this channel reach more people who need this information. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the perfect time. We cover SSI and SSDI updates, payment schedules, benefit changes, and everything else you need to know to stay informed and stay ahead. Hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you never miss an update. Your benefits are important. Your financial security matters. And we're here to make sure you always have the information you need. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.